Hello friends, this is Cara-Renee with B.Reborn Art and Healing, coming to you with episode 1 of our Mixed Media 101 series. So thank you guys for your feedback about wanting a little bit of a basics kind of 101 for mixed media. So I thought today, let me move my camera here. I thought today we would start with texture paste because I really have been wanting to do some texturizing on some book pages, digitals, and things like that. I've watched this over on Ruby and Pearl, Heather over there. I have also done it on my own, but I thought, wow, what a great opportunity to revisit that and do it with you guys. So I did forget to grab any stencils, so I'm going to grab those here in just a second, but we're going to talk about what's in front of me really quick. And because I've been doing mixed media for a number of years, I can kind of take for granted what comes easy for me, what has become intuitive for me because I've been doing it for a while and because I love it so much. But I thought we're going to bring it down to a level that's really practical for junk journalers, especially to give you a chance to kind of play around with a different medium, add a little bit of different elements to your pockets, to your tags, to your backgrounds, to your journal pages, to your signatures. You could completely like do little corners of texturizing with texture paste. So let me grab those stencils really quick so that we don't have any further interruptions. I'll be right back. So as I showed in my video you will have already seen by the time this one posts, these are my Sean Petit stencils, and I did show these. We've kind of flipped through them together, so this is part of what we're going to be pulling from to do our texturizing. But some of those stencils are really big, so I also got these littler ones. So we've got some mandalas and some other cool stuff, some little floral stuff, and then these diamonds are always a win, as you can tell from their use in my studio. So that's what we're going to do. So let me just talk about supplies really quick. So there is a plethora of different kinds of modeling paste. I'm telling you, it is insane. So I have a favorite. It's from Liquitex. It's called Liquitex Flexible Modeling Paste. I cannot find it. I think I'm going to have to go to Blick or Cheap Joe's or something online and see if I can locate it, because it's a really nice texture paste in that it dries. When it dries pretty fast and it dries really hard. So then you're not going to have any chance of that getting smushy and whatever. I mean, it all dries really well because of what it's made out of. Maybe in another video, if you're interested, I can show you how to make homemade texture paste. I have done it in the past. It works. It just was not, because I was doing more formal mixed media. I was creating canvases. I didn't want to use anything that didn't kind of meet my specifications as far as what I was used to, the results that I had become accustomed to. So I have made it before. Let me know in the comments if you'd be interested in doing that on camera. We can make some and I can show you how that works. But that being said, I will show you what I have and what you can use in place of texture paste. So this is the texture paste that I currently use. There's a lot of names for texture paste. It can be called modeling paste, texture paste. It's pretty much the same thing. This is the Crafters Workshop modeling paste. It comes in several colors. Oh, I just realized it comes in gold. I will grab that. No, I think that's gesso. Hold on, now I'm curious. Just a second. Just a second. That would be kind of epic if I have it in gold. I got it for Christmas, but I can't remember if it's... Oh, it is gesso. So it's not the same thing. So we're going to talk about gesso here in a second as well, though. But I do have this modeling paste in black and white. This is the one I go to the most because I prefer the white, but maybe we'll try some black. I'm not sure. It's going to behave exactly the same because it's the exact same product. So we'll set that aside. I also picked this up at Tuesday morning quite some time ago. It is a gold texture paste, metallic texture paste. So we're going to try this as well, because if you have a Tuesday morning, I don't know if you'd find this, but you can see how it retails $6.99 and I got it for $1.99. So that's another idea. It's just anything in that family that says texture paste or modeling paste, you're going to be golden. So this is another one that I have. I actually have not used this much, but it is a modeling paste from US Art Supply. We are going to give this a try because I need to get familiar with it again. I've used it, it's been a while and I can't remember what I used it on. So in the event that you don't want texture paste, or you don't have it, or you have super heavy gesso, you can also stencil with in the same fashion. Now it's not going to dry hard and crispy kind of like texture paste, but it will give you the same result. The only thing you have to be careful of is that if you use this in a project that you're going to come back in, you're going to come over it and add some wet medium, like some acrylic paint that's kind of watery, like I do often in my mixed media my mixed media projects. They're not tutorials. They're not tutorials. They're craft with me. I have used super heavy gesso. It's just that you have to wait longer for it to dry. So for doing book pages and things like that we're going to do today, it would work fine because we're going to just do them and set them aside and just let them dry until they're, for days. Like we're not in a hurry, right? Because we're not needing to move on to a new step. And that's going to make more sense here in a moment when we get going. Some tools. Oh, so let's talk about colorizing texture paste. So let's say you wanted your texture paste to be a certain color. Like say you wanted it to have a brown tone. I've got this Color Burst Sepia. I have never done this. I've never mixed a powder with texture paste to colorize it, but I'm going to try it, and I want to try it with you guys since that's what we're kind of doing anyway. But I have tried colorizing it with a little bit of other stuff and like paint or something. And what it does is it changes the composition of the texture paste. It breaks it down and it makes it not as effective. So I'm hoping by, dropping in a powder that it's not going to change the composition rather of the modeling paste or texture paste or gesso, whatever it is that you're using. Back to the gesso though, you do want the super heavy gesso. This is very easy to get your hands on. It's not terribly expensive and it lasts forever. So this is a great alternative. And then I also have, this is Pearl-Ex, so it's a pearlized gold. So I thought we might try that too. You do want kind of a credit. So there's a couple options for applying it, because basically what you're going to do is you're going to get the texture paste on here and then you're just going to go over the area that you want to stencil. I don't prefer this because, as you can see, they are bendable. This is an extra Kaiser card, but I wanted to give you that option because if you want to hit the ground running but you don't have any palette knives, you can definitely use something like this in the event that you don't have palette knives. I have a variety of palette knives, as you can tell by the grunge. These are my favorites. I like this one for a little bit of a flatter application because it's got a longer flat side. But this one works also because you can get this side here. You just want something that's going to be consistent. So when you're scraping that texture paste on, you're going to be going like this. So you do want kind of a flat edge to get a consistent amount of texture paste through your stencil. So that's some tools. This is one that I would not use. Now you could try it, but you see how it bends. This is a silicone brush. So I just wanted to show you that this would not be advisable, at least from my perspective. But if you don't have anything else and you have this, it would be really no different than the credit card in terms of bending. So see how that bends. So you could definitely give it a try. So the third thing that I have, and I completely forgot about this, I ordered it recently from Amazon and it came, the container was similar to one of these from Finnabair, and it came in a bag and the container was completely busted open, the lid was cracked, etc. So thankfully the company did right by me, and they gave me my money back. They said I did not have to return the product, because it was really frustrating, because you spend, I mean, this was probably about $12. So I took the remainder of it and I just put it in this little container. So I want to show you the consistency of this. It's pretty fluffy. It's called paper paste. So I'm kind of curious, and since we're playing together, I thought we would try that together as well. So those are some of our supplies. And then you do want to have some baby wipes, paper towels, those kinds of things, because it does get messy. I've got some paper towels right here that I keep just kind of on a shelf below me. So I'm going to put those there where I can reach them. I've got some little dishes to mix up some of this so that we can actually colorize. And I'm going to grab a piece of parchment paper as well for my, for my surface here, in case I want to just do some mixing on my table. This is a piece of the coffee dyed paper I did recently, and I thought I'd show you how you could take something like this, which is absolutely beautiful, but you could continue that by adding some texture paste to it. So this was a kind of a second thought. We might get to that, we might not. We have a ton of stuff here. So what I thought we would start with is just doing some texturizing of some book pages, and music pages. So this is a fairly decent thickness, so we'll try this first. But I also have some digitals, as you can see. These are from, this is from Sam Poole Designs. This is that vintage photographs, I think is what it's called. This is from Ruby and Pearl. It's from her Mademoiselle kit. I'm going to make pockets out of it for a journal that I'm working on for my sister. So I thought I could do that as my sample of a digital to try. So then we've got a book page, and I'm picking book pages that are a little bit heavier. So we've got those, and then let's see what else we have. I also wanted to do this. I want to make a pocket out of that. So that's another digital. And then this is a digital as well from Ruby and Pearl, but I'm thinking we need to do a couple more book pages. So we'll do that one. We've got lots of things to try here. So, and if you feel like this is going too slow, you can definitely speed me up. You don't want to speed me up too much because I don't want you to miss the important stuff. So if you can hang out for a bit, that would probably be good. So I'm going to pull this binder over just to see if there's a stencil in here I'd like to use that's not too, these ones would be perfect. Well, I actually want sort of florals, I think, which this is going to be tricky because that's not what I had in mind for this. So we could do these little flowers down here potentially. So I'm going to set that over here, and let's see what else we've got. I'm kind of going for flowers on the vine type of thing, but you wouldn't necessarily have to do that. Kind of this would be pretty too, but I think it's a little bit too big for what we're doing. This bunch, this would be gorgeous. In fact, let's just pull that because that would be really beautiful. Not too big. As you can see, this has two sizes, and I've used this one. I haven't used the larger, so that would be a good choice. And you can see what my well-loved things are. We've got bricks. You could do bricks. Those are pretty cool. I just did those in a mixed media project for Sunday's Art of Truth. You could also do things like this, like the, what is that? The North Star or whatever. I don't know. I just work here. I don't know what it's called. And then there's just, these are kind of doodly things that I don't think really work for what I'm going for. But you could do something like this. You could do a little bit of a rose up the side of a page. So let's pull that out just in case we want to try that. You can move my mouse because I inevitably hit it and then stop the camera. So let's see what else. I don't have a lot of flowy flower things in here in my Sean Petit stencils. I used to be on her, she's a mixed media artist, and I was on her design team for a year, and that was really cool. This would be really lovely as well. It's a little bit big, but just to give you an idea of what you can do, what kinds of different kind of out of the box things that you can do that you might not be thinking about. You can also stencil words if you've got word stencils. So that was all of the Sean Petit stencils. So that was a bummer. So we're going to look at this one too. So we just want to have a few going on here. Let's see what else we've got here. I have a lot of stencils because I've been doing this for quite a while. We've got this beautiful sunflower. I love using that. It's a little bit big for what we're doing. You can also do words. So this is the Art Is stencil, really great stencil. But I'm thinking we can do a little bit of the diamond thingies. I don't know what they call that. And then we could do a little bit of this because I am not finding what I'm looking for here in this stash. So let's pull this little mandala as well. So I'm just doing this to give you an idea of how the technique works. You can go get the stencils and try them out yourself. So I am going to move this camera a little bit closer, and I think I'm going to start with this, and I think I want to put some boy, it's just I don't have very many small stencils. Let me grab one more bunch, you guys, just a moment. Perhaps I have something a little bit different here. I didn't pull everything because that's just ridiculous. But let's see. I should have pulled these before, you guys. I'm so sorry. I thought I was very prepared. Feathers would be really pretty as well. That feather would be lovely. This is really cool as well. It's just a different kind of effect. It's got kind of all this weird little bits that are kind of different. This would be really pretty. We've got some seaside stuff. We've got some angel wings, which would also be gorgeous. I'm not seeing flowy flowers, which is what I have in my head for doing this journaling thing. Oh, the butterflies would be cool. Let's do that. That would be lovely. And I also really love this one. It's a little bit wretched because it's been used a lot. I also have a postage one, which would probably work well. So again, I apologize for not being more prepared. I didn't think this through. Thought I did. Oh goodness. Oh, and these are really pretty too, except that stencil's messed up. So I think I would like to try just straight up modeling paste and do a little bit on this card, or maybe we'll start with the book page because it's a little bit less. It's more nondescript, I guess is what I'm saying. So let's just try and go in with a little bit of flowers here. So you can put your design anywhere on your surface, right? Because you don't have to put modeling paste everywhere. So we're just going to set it on there. You don't have to tape it. Now, if you felt more comfortable taping it, you totally could. I don't feel the need to do that, but I want you to do you. I want you to do what you're comfortable with. And I'm actually just going to put the stuff on my mat here, I think, because this, oh, maybe not. I always think it's not going to be that big of a deal, and then I'm like crying because I have to clean it up. Okay, so I'm going to use my go-to, which is the modeling paste from the Crafters Workshop. And you can put it out on your surface, or you can just get it right out of the thing. So I want you to I want to show you the consistency of this. So it's not too thick, but it definitely has some what is the word I'm looking? It's not thin, but it's not thick. So basically what we're going to do is we're just going to hold this here, okay? And you're just going to want to think about what part of this stencil you want to use. So I think I'm going to kind of go in a corner here. And then when you lift the stencil off, if there's something on there that you don't want, you can wipe it off with your finger. So you just hold your palette knife kind of at a 45-degree angle, I guess, if I was to describe that. And you just go over all of this. All the parts of these flowers that you want, gotta get rid of that you want to have textured. So I'm just going to go all the way to the corner as best I can. So for you perfectionists out there, this is not a perfect art. Mixed media is not a perfect art, and stenciling like this is not as either. So you will get an inconsistent impression, and so you have to kind of settle yourself on that and be okay with that. But there we go. So that is our first one. So let's go ahead and lift it off, and then I will hold it up so you can see it as well. So we're just lifting. And I forgot to mention it again. I do this all the time, but I don't know if you noticed, but I put the swath of modeling paste on first, and then I smooth it all out, because you don't want peaks and valleys in your stencil, because when you lift that stencil up, it's going to leave that peak on your paper. So I'm just setting that yucky stencil aside. I should have got a water dish, but I didn't. So I'm going to grab a baby wipe and wipe this desk off here. There we go. And I probably should dry that, because I don't want to... I feel like I'm all thumbs right now. I have done a little bit of teaching of mixed media. I used to do some classes, but then I lost my venue and with COVID and everything that happened. So let me just show you this up close. So that's what it looks like. And I love it. I think it's absolutely perfect. And so you can see here that we've got some little peaks and some inconsistency there. Embrace it, okay? Embrace the inconsistency, because it is what makes art beautiful. So don't worry about it at all. Now, I will say that this technique that I'm using for this purpose is, I'm not doing anything else with it. I'm not going to add medium. I'm not going to do anything, because this is a book page, a music page. It's very, very fragile. So if I were to try to go in and colorize this and put some color on it, it would break down the paper, and this is not the time for that. So this is just straight up getting some texture paste on some book pages. So that's our book page. Let me go ahead, our music page, excuse me. I want to use this one. This is the language of art. I thought it would be a fun one to do. So the same holds true. You can do, let's say you wanted to do this stencil, and you can, so when you're working small, you've got a small book page and you've got a smallish stencil, you have the freedom of putting some over here and then putting some over here. So that's what we're going to do right now. I am going to try the paper paste, just because I want to try, well, let's save that for later. I don't want to go off into weird land too quickly. So let's go ahead and show you how the super heavy gesso works. Again, very similar to the modeling paste, and I'm going to show you that by showing you the consistency of it in the jar, or in this container. So you do want to make sure that you clean off your stencils, which is why I should have gotten a water thing and just put it in here, a water bucket, and clean off your palette knife, because it's dries hard as a rock and it's hard to get off. So this is the gesso. It is actually thicker than that texture paste. I don't know if you guys can see that, but it is thicker. So that's interesting. Although it doesn't dry with the same, it's not made out of the same stuff, so it's not going to dry the same. And that's a little bit too much. So go a little bit lighter on your first application, because you don't want to get a bunch all in one place. So I'm just kind of lining that up just to have a straight edge here so that my diamonds aren't sideways. So I'm going to kind of start over, actually let me start over here. And I'm just going to come down. Now I'm going to have to shop for some stencils that I want to use for junk journaling, because what I have is not fitting the bill in my mind here. So, but use what you have. You can make your own stencils too. I've heard people do that. I've never done it. So there's that. And then that's actually quite thick. I think the problem that I run into using gesso is that I am doing layers and layers and layers and layers and layers. And so you have to make sure that the gesso is so over dry, because it will, when you put wet medium on top of it, it will soften it and it will create a problem. So I'm going to go down to this corner now. So again, this is very thick. So I'm holding this at a 90-degree angle, as I mentioned. And I'm going to hold this up so you can see how I'm not concerned about all of the pieces getting filled in. So I'm going to hold it up while it's still attached to the stencil. So see here how I have it in a little bit of that diamond and a little bit of this one, and then some of them are full, and the same here. That is what's cool about mixed media techniques. So I'm going to pull that off. I pull this a little bit slower because, again, it's a different composition of a material. And so that's what that looks like. So again, if you had the right stencil, this would obviously be much more appealing. These stencils are kind of cheesy for what we're doing here. I do have more. I just I don't want to take all of our time choosing stencils that we are going to fall in love with. Right? We're just getting it done. So this one I thought would be fun. This is a digital. I thought this one would be fun to do some, the butterflies would those be cheesy on here? You know what? I think they'd actually be quite pretty. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and let's see. I don't want to do black on that, but I do want to show you another product here. So let me just close that gesso up because I want you to see a demo of each of the things that we're trying. So let's try this modeling paste. This is the one from US Art Supply. Actually, because I'm doing this on this blue paper and this is for my sister's journal, I'm going to go ahead and use the gold embossing paste. Sorry for that. So this is, again, this is Heidi Swap. So I'm just going to get some out on my mat here. And so it is, as you can, I don't know if you could tell that is not as thick. You can kind of tell by how it peaks. I don't know if you guys can see that. It's going to be fine, but it's definitely a different consistency. So I'm going to go ahead, and that's a little bit much. So this is what I have on there. Can you see the thickness of that? Because again, if you put too much, you're going to have a problem. And I'm also kind of holding my hand over here, holding in all the places that I can. Once you start texturing, putting the texture paste and whatever, it kind of will hold the stencil still, but initially you got to get it in place. So, this is going to be beautiful. There we go. So I'm going to get a little bit more. And I'm going to go all the way up to the top. Kind of cheesy for a Paris page because these are kind of cartoonish butterflies, but that's okay. It's just for my sis. I'm making her a blue themed journal. I'm at the point where I'm pulling all the papers just to kind of start dreaming about what I want to do. So I'm just going to go down here and I'm going to do this bigger butterfly. This is going to be a more thorough coverage because of the stencil design. So that's another thing to keep in mind, is that depending on the stencil, oftentimes you're going to get a little bit of a different result because of the intricacies or lack thereof in a stencil. So that's that. So we're going to go ahead and pull this off. And I pull it off slowly because if you've got any peaks, in your modeling paste, you're going to be fine. Oh, that's gorgeous. Look at that, you guys. Oh, I love it. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. That's going to be a pocket in her journal. So let me set that over there. And let's go ahead and got way too much out. I always put way too much out, guys. So if you're more frugal than me, less is okay. You can always squirt more out or get more out of your pot. I always waste way more than I should. So let's go ahead and try this modeling paste as well. This, because again, I wanted to model all of them. I'm not going to do the black just because it's going to be the same. It's the same product as the white. So if you want something, you want that contrast of black, you could definitely use some black modeling paste. This is, I will link all of these supplies in the supply list over on my blog, and a link to the blog will be in the video description. So I will link these. I get these on Amazon. I believe this is about $10.99 or something like that. So very affordable. It's probably gone up now, but it's very affordable and it lasts forever. So there we go. I don't know if I can link the Heidi swap because I didn't get it online. I got it at Tuesday morning. So let's see what else we've got over here. We've got a larger book page. So maybe we'll go in with that, one of those big Sean Petit stencils. This is a French music book that I love. So let's see what we've got here. That would be lovely. Because some of what I'm going to do with this is I want to be able to just kind of tear it off and use it as, you know, use it as a layer in some project. So I'm not going to be too concerned about all of that. This one would actually be really pretty. It's kind of hard to see because I didn't clean my stencil very well, but it's got some great intricate detail. So I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to kind of go off to this corner. So that's the other thing, is you can do this however you want. So I can go like that, and I can get part of the leaf and part of the flower and such and such. So let's go ahead and use this other modeling paste. This is the one from the US Art Supply. This is reminding me of the gesso. It's kind of that thick like that gesso. So let's go ahead and try it. I may find that I love it. It was also off of Amazon and very affordable. I think I got it when I was unable to get my favorite texture paste. And then I don't know why I didn't really use it, but I didn't. I'm a habit person. I like things to be the same. I like using products that I'm familiar with. So there we go. So I'm going to scrape that off, and then I'm just going to make sure I don't have any excess because we don't want any peaks. And I hope that you're following me and you know what I mean by that. There we go. So let's go ahead and pull that off. See what we got. I feel like there's more peaks involved here. Not really. We're not out of room over there. So then you can take your finger and you can just kind of wipe the edges to get off that excess. I'm going to grab my paper towel and just wipe off my table. Actually, this modeling paste is really pretty cool. I think I'm going to go ahead just to complete this one and go in with another piece of this over in this other corner because I'm going to be actually using these, so I may as well do what's going to be useful for me. So I'm going to just kind of go up here in that corner like so. I actually really love this one. I'm interested to see how it dries, like how fast and how hard it dries. I like a modeling paste that dries really hard. But again, that's because of the kind of work that I do, because I use a lot of wet medium on top of my texture paste. If you've seen any of my mixed media videos, there are so many layers, and it gets pretty wet. So I've got some, I'm just again smoothing that out just to make sure I don't have excess modeling paste. And you can tell there's not a whole lot of effort being put into keeping it in place because the texture paste itself will do that. So I'm going to set that over there. I need to get papers out of the way so I don't get modeling paste on them. So there we go. Look at that. Look at that. Isn't that amazing? I love it. Okay. I'm feeling good about this. I hope that you guys are too. It's so fun. I think we need to try to colorize though. Let's try that next. Let's try that next. I'm probably not going to use any of those dishes. I'm just going to put it on my table. It's easier. So we've got the color burst in turquoise. I thought we would try that. Let's get another substrate here. Actually, let's go ahead and use this paper. Oh, it's not the right color though. Let's use the brown. Then it will be more in line with the colors in this paper. There we go. So let's see what happens here. So basically what you're going to do is take your modeling paste, put it out on your surface or plate or whatever you have, and then we're just going to sprinkle some of this color burst powder in. And so this is another thing to keep in mind. I don't know, as long as this modeling paste is wet, the color can shift. But because it's in texture paste, you're really not going to be doing anything. You're going to wait for it to dry. So the fact that this is a water reactive product is not going to be a problem in this case. So just an FYI. So I'm going to use quite a bit here because I think it's going to take a good amount here. So let me see what that looks like really quick here. And then you're just going to kind of mix it with your palette knife. Oh, that's actually, oh, it's got other colors in it. It's got that, it's got like a turquoise and orange. I forgot about the color burst behaving like this. That's kind of a gross color though. We need to do something about that. Let's try some more. You can always experiment, guys. No harm. No harm in playing. It's not going to get dark though. That's my concern. That's not going to get dark. It's kind of a yucky color. Let's add some of this turquoise in. Why not? Why not? Maybe we'll use this other side. Oh my goodness. That was a lot. Okay, let's see what we got here. Oh my goodness. Well, oh, it's definitely getting turquoise-ish. Turquoise-ish. I don't want to ruin that though, so we're not going to do that because I don't want to ruin that. It's an original. I did scan them all, so I have them for later. But so that's kind of a gross color, but we've got it going on, so we're going to use it. So let's get another another book page here. And then let's go ahead and try this mandala. How about that? So we're going to go ahead and use the mandala over here. And I'm just going to kind of put this in the corner. So you see this circle of the center. And I'm just looking at the circle here. That's just me, just to kind of line it up a little bit. And then we're going to go ahead and put the texture paste on here. So again, the benefit of using a powder is you're not adding any moisture. You're not adding any more liquid to the product. Oh, look at all that, those specklies. The other side of my knife. The other thing is you can get on Amazon, you can get the plastic palette knives will work just as good as this. They are going to bend a little bit more because they're plastic, but they would work also. I think this is actually quite beautiful color. I'm having trouble because I don't have anything to scrape this on. Let me grab this dish and see if I can do that. I'm going to move my hand. Do it at your own risk, right? Because as long as you have a bunch on there, you're not going to be able to get the excess off. You're just kind of moving it around. That is epic. Look at that. Oh my gosh. Okay, let's pull it off and see what we got. So that's definitely a win as far as how to colorize. So you'd have to play around with colors to see what you could use to colorize your texture paste, but this totally works. So I'm gonna go and do, I don't usually do it exactly the same. I do a little bit smaller corner here. So I'm gonna just kind of go like that. I'm going to use this up here a little bit. I don't like to have this go to waste because we worked very hard at it. And in another video, I think we will we'll do, I don't know the order in which these 101s are going to go in because I've never done this before. I haven't taught kind of sequentially in mixed media techniques. So, but one of the things that we will eventually get to is we will do some modeling paste and then we will do some wet medium and see what happens. So check that out. That is amazing. And the cool thing about this is actually going to stabilize this book page because when this dries, it's going to dry hard. So that is epic. Beautiful, beautiful color. So again, I don't want to waste that. So we're going to grab something else here really quick just to be frugal here. So let me grab another one of these stencils here and see what we can find that we can use. How about a feather? Try a feather. I don't like to work with crud on the desk though in my work area, so clean that off. This is just a silicone mat. It's a desk mat. I wouldn't recommend it though because it took like months for it to lay flat, even though I was laying it out in the sun and doing all this gymnastics with it. And it still wouldn't work. So it's still kind of bowed on the one end. So I have this one. I picked this book page because I just thought it was really, really pretty. So let's just try this for a feather. So this feather is going to be a little bit less distinct, right? Because it's just an open area. This one would be tricky to get to. These ones would both be pretty. So I think I'll actually use both of those. So I'm going to turn this. Actually, I'm going to go up here because I'm not going to ever use that whole page. So yeah. So I'm just going to use this up if hopefully I have enough. Now that I have a plan. Oh, we're getting a little bit of white in there. That's okay. Going on here? Why do I have so much white? I can't tell now if that's the texture paste or if it's the paper. So I'm going to move my fingers carefully, see if I can identify what's going on here. And again, perfect impression is not critical. It's really you're just going for a general look. So I'm going to go ahead and pull that off as well. See what we've got. So I'm pulling slowly. Oh, that's beautiful. I was feeling so iffy. Look at that. It's beautiful. So feathers. So I guess what I have in my mind is what I was seeing Heather do, and she had a lot of like little floral bunches and stuff. And I think that's kind of what I've had in my mind as what I wanted to do on book pages, but this is totally fine too. We do have a little bit more here, so let me again use it so we don't waste it. So I've got this stencil. This is one of my favorite stencils, but like this one's all ripped and it's been used. It's well loved. So I think I'm going to go ahead and use the bottom part of this here and just use up the rest of this. I'm not going to probably use it all. Well, actually, let me turn this because I'll probably just tear this one up or use it as a layer in something. So I'm just going to go over. I'm watching my hand over here because that is wet, and you don't want to get your hand in there. And as you get more practiced at this, you can get pretty quick at it too. So give yourself time to learn. And so I'm getting into those numbers there a little bit, but I'm not worried about it. I can wipe it off if I don't like it. So there we go. So again, I'm going to move my hand. Oh, oh my goodness. I'm turning into a mess here. Turning into a mess. Okay, so there's that. So I'm just going to go over this one more time just to make sure that I don't have a lot of peaks. It looks to be good. So let's go ahead and take that off. And again, slowly. This will actually go really great with some of Ruby and Pearl's French stuff because it's kind of got that tone. But look at that. So guys, the sky is the limit here. This is exciting. It's very different for me to think about doing this kind of stenciling in the junk journal kind of realm. I'm very familiar with the product, but doing it in this way is really actually quite cool. So I'm just cleaning everything up here really quickly. And then I do want to show you the paper paste as well. And what else did we want to try? Maybe we'll try the black. We're still doing okay on time. I'm going to go another 5 minutes or so. I can't leave my stencils sitting there out of water for too long. Otherwise, they will be a disaster. So just setting that over there carefully. So let's see what else we've got here. Actually, I think I want to go in with some gold on that one. We'll do 2 more pieces. And then I thought this one would be really fun. Or even this to do a little bit of stuff on. So let's try that. What was I saying? Oh, paper paste. Let's try paper paste. Actually, this stencil might be really pretty on here because we've got this whole side that doesn't really have much on it. Look at that. It's a perfect fit. So in this case, I am kind of looking at the stencil and seeing where my design is and lining it up with the top and the bottom of the page. And then it's kind of hard to judge if you're super straight unless you've got a grid underneath you. But I don't worry too much about it. It's not, again, it doesn't have to be perfect. And then you can kind of I spy and see, I can see the paper underneath and kind of look at my distance there and then look at my distance there. They look to be about the same. So we're going to go with that. And I think I want to do some, let's do some paper paste. I really want to try this. I haven't used it before. It's a new product for me and it's very soft and very different. I don't know if it's actually going to work for stenciling at all in this way. So let's try it. I don't know if it's got a different purpose because it's almost fluffy like snow. It's interesting. I think it's better for some of the other techniques that I do like on a mixed media canvas or art journal page or something where I'm just adding it for texture because that just pulled up the stencil. So that we are not going to probably get a very consistent application here, but that's okay. Again, we're not looking for perfection. So I'm going to go ahead and lift this one up. I'm going to be more cautious because I feel like this is softer, but look at that. It was just fine. All that about nothing, but isn't that gorgeous? This will make a beautiful side pocket. Gorgeous. I just don't know. I don't know what the difference is, like what this does. I know on a surface in a mixed media project, it's kind of got a softer, almost like snow when it dries. So that's kind of cool. So for this application, it might not be the best thing, but there we go. So let's do one more. I want to do some gold on this one, and then we will call it a day. And I will thank you gladly for coming by and for watching and listening because this is exciting. Very exciting. So actually, since we have the other pigment powder out, let me get this. This is Aztec Gold. Let me get it out here. And I'm going to go back to my favored modeling paste, which is the Crafter's Workshop. I'm just going to get a little bit out on my mat here. Oh, goodness gracious. My palette knife just fell apart. That happens. They spend a lot of time in the water. That one might be on its last leg. Sometimes if I can get it in there correctly again, I can put some glue in there. So we've got our gold. I don't know how much I'm going to need of this because I don't use these. Again, these are the Pearl X, so I'm going to go ahead and just sprinkle some on there. Oh, Lord. Oh, my goodness. Look at that. Oh, my goodness. That's crazy. That's way... Oh, my goodness. This is just turning into a mess. We're going to have to get some more modeling paste. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness gracious. Let's see. Let's see. Okay. That seems to be better. That was a lot of powder. Goodness. It's not even looking gold. Why is this? Oh, I bet because it's Pearl X. So it's not going to, because just as you have to be concerned about changing the composition of your modeling paste, you have to think about changing the composition of your powder. So if this is a pearlized powder, then obviously it's going to be affected by being mixed with an opaque medium. But I'm still liking that because it's sort of similar to that color in the corner. So we're just going to go with it. I think I'm just going to put some postage on this one. Let's see what we've got here. Let's see what we've got. I love just all of that right there. So let's just do it. Trying to go up a little bit and trying to keep it even. I can kind of use this as my guide to see. I'm going to wipe this off though because I don't want all that extra powder being hanging around. So there we go. It's interesting because it doesn't even look sparkly, but that's okay. So I'm just gonna hold this down, and I'm holding my palette knife at a 45-degree angle, and I'm just gonna go over all of this on this side. See, I think it's gonna be okay. I just put my finger in there. I would also suggest that you wear an apron. I've got an apron on today because I always get very messy when I do mixed media. I wear it everywhere. So because I'm trying to only get parts of this stencil design, I am going to probably wipe some of it off when I pull the stencil, which is totally fine. This is definitely a different composition. It changed the texture paste. I can feel it's different. I'm just trying to capture that post right there. See if we can. Okay, there we go. So again, we have the freedom to wipe away anything that we want. So I'm going to kind of slowly pull that. Like so. Oh, gorgeous. You guys, this is just epic. See, I'm learning with you. I mean, the technique I know, but thinking about it this way is really, really cool. I love it. So you can see that we've got extra bits. So all this right here was part of another design, but I love it. I'm not changing a thing. So there you go, guys. I'm going to turn the camera off and I'm going to clean this up by using it with another stencil on something else so I don't waste it. But thank you guys. Let me know if you liked it. Let me know if this is what you were thinking, if it was too much, too long, too many choices. Please, please give me the feedback because this is for you. This is not for me. So blessings until next time. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.